And welcome back to Politics Unplugged. Attorney General Chris Mays is ramping up her investigation into the false electors who signed documents claiming that Donald Trump won the election in Arizona. And here to talk about that, political consultants Chuck Coughlin and Jevin Hodge. Thank you both for being here. Let's start with that investigation. I mean, where is all of this heading at this point with those fake electors in Arizona? It includes that list of electors includes a couple of sitting state lawmakers right now. What's this? Yeah. Where's this going to end?
Yeah, I think the Justice Department is looking into that as well. I think she is contributing, wishes to contribute to that. I have not spoken to her about it since before the election because I think she felt, as many of us felt, that that was an inappropriate use of official power and an attempt to usurp and get in the way of the proper election process. So I think there's something there, and so we'll see if they conclude that as well.
You think there's something there, and how significant of an issue do you think this is?
I think that absolutely there is something there, for starters, Dennis, and we have to look at the bigger picture here. In order for our democracy to work, we have to work it, and this is one of the levers that we have to pull, right, to ensure that we are protecting the future of the republic. I mean, the attack on democracies, the fake electors, this is an existential threat to the future of this republic, and so Attorney General Mays is doing the exact right thing to ensure that we're protecting the people, we're protecting the future of our democracy, and we have something to pass on moving forward. So, you know, I strongly hope and I encourage that they put their foot to the pedal and continue to drive forward in driving action here.
All right, let's stick with the elections here, and let's talk a little bit about the Maricopa County Recorder's race. It's starting to look like the former failed Republican nominee for Secretary of State, Mark Finchem. He's a former state lawmaker.
Who got beat by Adrian Fontes.
Got beat by Adrian Fontes, former cop from Kalamazoo, Michigan, moved out here.
I don't think he's eligible for rehire.
I believe there's some paperwork that would affirm that I believe. I may be wrong. But looks like he's taken some moves to potentially move up to Maricopa County. He's been living in Pima for a while to run for that office. Now, the evidence we have is that he recently resigned as a precinct committee member down in Pima. Yep. We found some corporate paperwork filings that he recently filed, shows a Phoenix home address. He hasn't addressed this at all. But if Mark Finchem jumps into this race to become the top election official in Maricopa County, how does that change the dynamic of the race with Stephen Richer looking like he's going to run for re-election?
I think it makes Mr. Richer look at what's the best place to run. How do we do this? Will he have multiple opponents? Will there be multiple people from that segment of the Republican Party that are election denialists, who are MAGA voters? I mean, let's all remember the Trump brand is not won in Maricopa County since 2016. And so you would wonder, at least in a general election, you'd say, what's the best place to do this? I think Stephen is widely respected by many people in the Republican circles, by many people in unaffiliated voters as well, and by many Democrats. And so it'll be interesting to see how he digests this question. Does he choose to take him on directly in a primary, depending on what that looks like? Or does he look at the opportunity of maybe running as an unaffiliated or an independent candidate, if you will, for what should be probably a nonpartisan office? And
let me get your take. You've run for office in county. Obviously, it was just a supervisor district, and you're a Democrat, so you probably weren't talking to the Republican primary voter out there. But do you think that Stephen Richer could get out of a Republican primary?
I actually do. Because there is a stark contrast between
Can you give me some of what he's smoking?
Recorder Richard and Mark Finchem. Hey, bear with me on this one. And look, I'm pulling on some theories here. And so what's going to happen here, right, is you're going to see those unaffiliated voters, those independent voters that are passionate about these elections, that are passionate about their, the protection of their democracy, that are pulling Republican ballots in the primary, right? And look, it may not be a huge cross-sector of the population that's doing it, but it's going to be enough of those high-efficacy voters. Look, let's just play this back a little bit. There's a reason why Adrian Fontes and Katie Hobbs are in the top two offices, respectfully. Governor Hobbs was able to pull on those disenfranchised voters that felt left and forgotten by the Republican Party. And in this case, the same phenomenon is going to play out in a primary where you get these Barry Goldwater, John McCain Republicans that don't want to vote for a Democrat, but are willing to stand up for their party, and Richard's doing that.
And we'll see. I mean, in predictions, I don't have the best track record on this, but I always look at independent voters as Lucy holding the proverbial football.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, we think they can get them, and they're like,
in
no.
general elections, they make a significant difference. It is the portion of the electorate that dictates the outcome. They are the swing portion of the electorate. The ironic part of this is, could you see Stephen Richard running on a ballot that would include Donald Trump and Kerry Lake? And so
that would be. We'll see. And
that presents a quandary.
Okay, and I do have to end that one right there, because I do want to get to this. Arizona Congressman Eli Crane found himself into some really hot water for some comments. I want to play them right now, and Jevin, I want to get your response to it on the other side.
My amendment has nothing to do with whether or not colored people or black people or anybody can serve, okay? It has nothing to do with color of your skin, any of that stuff. What we want to preserve and maintain is the fact that our military does not become a social experiment.
Response to the verbiage, the words he used in that speech.
Look, this is quintessential 1950s Jim Crow rhetoric. And you have a member of the United States House of Representatives, the People's House of Representatives, that are calling people, me, myself included, colored people. Right? And this is an egregious action, right? And is blatant disrespect. And then he continues to say that the military and everything that is happening is a social experiment. What he's saying is that every person of color in his district, he blatantly disrespect. Every person of color in this country, he's blatantly disrespect. And he can say, oh, it is a slip of words and it is a slip of action.
He is saying that he misspoke.
But no, this is not the 1940s, okay? We're not calling people colored people. We're not using language like that. And he should know, as a member of that body, that that is absolutely unacceptable anywhere in public, let alone on the floor of the United States House of Representatives. Blatant disrespect.
I'm going to give you the last word on that one, last word here on the show. That is all the time we have, and be sure to join us next week for more Politics Unplugged.